Hi guys, this is Javier.
No, this is funny. And this is Gerardo. And
Welcome to the Papiverse.
yes, welcome.
Yes.
To the Papiverse, a podcast where me and Javier are going to be taking you throughout the universe. We're going to be exploring all topics about everything. We're going to delve into sex, of course, because we're gay, but also into things like politics,
Pop culture,
things that make us laugh, cry, throw up,
current world topics.
do drugs,
Yeah, everything and
everything that we could think of.
Yeah.
Um,
But yeah, this is actually our first episode that we're recording.
but it's our third time
recording it because I think we were all over the place. We've learned a lot through our journey to create recordings and stuff. And we've gotten more comfortable as we've recorded other episodes, but we really wanted this one to land correctly. So
do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah.
And state 3 or 4 random facts of yourself.
I don't
they do in high
I'll
school.
do it, but I don't like that. That's a little weird.
Come on, just random facts. Things that
okay.
Just really random shit.
I'm a Scorpio. My birthday's in November. That's random.
Every Scorpio needs to tell everyone that they're a Scorpio.
You'll hear that a lot from Gerardo. He's going to call me out for that. He's really, really into zodiacs. I'm not. My favorite color is hunter green, I guess. And then see, this is so not interesting. It's 3 interesting facts.
Hunter green.
Yeah, hunter green. And then, I really like being around water. Especially as a child. When I was younger, I loved swimming, so I still enjoy that.
Well, Scorpio's a water sign.
But I don't like the beach. Yeah, it's too hot. It's sticky. The sand gets everywhere.
You know what? I actually feel the same way as you. I don't like the beach. I like it. It's fun. But it's not my favorite thing by water. I like lakes and stuff like that, or going on a boat. But the beach can be just too packed and stuff.
Salty. It's not fun.
Most beaches are touristy. That's why I don't go to them when I'm in a different city, unless it's Puerto Vallarta or somewhere gay. But yeah. Okay, cool.
What about you?
Me. Let me see, 3 random facts. I'm going to steal them from that post I've made on Instagram. So basically, my favorite animals are horses because I used to have one when I was growing up. And my parents told me they told me that they gave it away and really it died. And
horse?
They just didn't want to tell me. Yes. And I had a horse in Mexico. My dad had a rancho. And they told me that it died because they didn't want, they told me they gave it away because they didn't want to tell me that it died. And I was so heartbroken because I remember thinking for the longest time throughout my childhood, I was it died. It's so sad. And in reality, they had sold it or given it away or something. But yeah, that's one fact.
That's really sad.
I know it is. It's y'all should just tell me you're dead. Now I think somebody else has my horse. Anyway. And then my second fact is, I don't know. I was born in Veracruz in Mexico.
Is that the beach?
Well,
why can't I think of that?
It was in the mountains, but the beach is close. It's not too far of a drive, maybe 45 minutes.
Okay.
And then
I'm also from Mexico. I was born in Mexico.
I know that. Wow, look at us learning stuff about each
other.
Well,
wink, wink. We did know that because we recorded this episode 3 times.
We didn't say facts about ourselves.
We didn't.
Did we?
Actually, did. I think I might have mentioned it, but I don't know.
I don't remember doing that. Anyway, yeah. And then one more.
Last one. You're a bottom.
I'm verse.
Oh.
The Papiverse. I'm verse. Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think that kind of helped break the ice a little bit. Shall we go into... This episode is called The Big Bang because it's how it all started. So we might as well talk about how it all started.
Yeah. Especially because it's a queer podcast that we want to advocate for.
We want to advocate for all the queer people out there.
Yeah.
And so, of course, coming out.
Yeah,
like,
the beginning.
that's how it all started. That was the Big Bang. Well, maybe not the Big Bang. We'll get to that later. But to each of ours first Big Bang. But other than that, like, coming out, how was that for you?
I guess to start from like the very beginning, I didn't have a big. I wasn't one of those kids where I was like obvious. Maybe it was. Maybe I'm like oblivious to it. But I definitely hid it growing up. So like I wasn't out in high school. I wasn't out in middle school. I didn't talk to boys or anything like that. So my experience of coming out was actually like after high school. I started like experiencing guys and I started talking to boys and stuff like that. But I hid it probably for about a year after high school. And then it was kind of forced out eventually at some point. But yeah, even talking to guys was really scary. Because I remember they used to want to do things in public and not sex. I'm not talking about sex.
Oh, like hold hands.
Not even hold hands, just like my taste in men has changed so much, but we'll get into that later. But I'm talking about more so like just being with them. I used to like really like bottom boys and they were gay. They were like really obviously gay and they looked gay to other people.
Yeah.
And so being with them, I mean, people were going to associate with me with being gay and it was just scary. It was really scary.
Damn.
Yeah.
So you had a lot of internalized like
I did.
shame.
Yeah. I even remember talking to a guy and we went to a local bar. Where we actually are having our party, and he took me there, and literally, like, I saw somebody that I knew at that bar, and I went home. I mean, I dropped him off, I think, and I immediately started crying because I was so fucking scared.
Oh yeah, you told me.
And I was like, "Fuck."
What were you scared about?
Just that I hadn't told anybody about me being gay, and their reaction to it. I didn't know, like, I didn't know
So
how.
you met him at school? Or where'd you meet him?
No, Grindr.
Oh, Grindr.
Back when it was like really taboo,
Oh, yeah.
And so, I dropped him off and then he kind of like was really blunt and he's just like, hey, if you're seen with me, like people do know about me, like you're running that risk of like people having assumptions about you. But yeah.
And now you're a big old faggot.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I feel very different
and
about it now.
And now you're shameless.
Yeah, I'm very shameless now.
No, yeah, I felt very similar.
Yeah?
Even though, I mean, I came out when I was 16.
Okay.
So, like, but it was still very new to me. But it was also kind of exciting when I met my first gay friend. It was
like an adrenaline, right?
Not really. It was more like...
First gay friend or first gay, like...
We never hooked up.
Okay.
No. The first gay friend I had, his name was Jose, and he was really fake. I don't know how he is now. And if he listens to this, I mean, I hope he owns up to it. But yeah, he was accountability. No, just kidding. But yeah, hopefully he does. But he was cool. We met on MySpace. I hung out with him at Starbucks downtown. Okay. We live in Dallas, so it was in like near uptown Dallas. And I remember, like I was like, kind of far. He lived like in North Dallas and I was in Oak Cliff. And, at the time you just got everywhere with the train. The train, because in Dallas, nobody uses a train really because it's terrible. It's a terrible transportation system.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I was using. And so I met him there. We like just chilled and talked. And then he started inviting me to like these parties. Because back then they would have like parties they had a lot of house parties in Dallas. And so it was really interesting because as that was happening, that's when I started coming out to people. But I always came out to people outside of my inner circle first because I was so scared about what my inner circle would think. The people who were closest to me, my closest friends.
Right.
And I slowly bled into that. I came out to them too. Right. And then then it was
But I want to know how you did it. Like, did you just straight up say like, "Hey, I'm gay,"
I mean,
like to certain people?
Okay, so I love my younger self, but you could tell.
I mean, we know that.
You could tell. And, it was more the fear of accepting it because in my family, in my household, my mom and dad could tell, but they just didn't want to talk about it and they didn't want to accept it. So you internalize that, right? You're like, well, as long as I don't say anything, I'm safe. Right?
Did you play with Barbies and stuff when you were little?
What the fuck, Javier?
I'm just curious.
I don't remember, honestly. I remember one time I put on my mom's heels playing around to make my sister laugh. And I think my mom found she got mad.
And you were living. You were living your best life.
I was like, bitch, I look better than my mom in these.
I'm dead.
Yeah, but then so then after, it just became, I just told, I met Jose. He was cool. There was this girl at school that kind of knew me. We never hung out outside of school, but she would just talk to me sometimes. I kind of told her, I felt safe telling her. I just blurted it out. I remember being so nervous and I just said it. And she was just like, okay. And I just remember her.
She's like, what the fuck?
She's like, she's like, sir, this is a Wendy's.
I'm dead.
But she no, she was cool. She laughed. She was fine. She smiled and she was like, okay.
I think we were out of school at that point. It was May, June. And then I went to her house and I told her. And I actually texted her. I went outside and I was like, I need to tell you something. I couldn't do it in front to her face, but I stepped outside and then I texted her. She started laughing and she was like, you're ridiculous.
That's so funny.
You're making it a big deal. But then the way I ended up coming out to my family was it was kind of forced out because of my first boyfriend. They saw him. He would come over at night and he would he used to work really late, so he used to stay over with me, and we had a back house. So he used to leave, and in the process of leaving they found out somebody was coming over and they saw him coming out one time, and that's how they started questioning me about it.
Oh no.
Yeah. And my mom's not the type of lady to bounce around, so she made this thing up completely that somebody called her and she confronted me the next day saying that,
oh no.
Yeah,
my mom used to lie like that too.
To try to get stuff out of you. And so I was I know nobody called you. So I denied it. Probably we fought for 15 minutes and I got so frustrated that I was shaking and I was it was horrible. And then I ended up just telling them yeah, I was okay, I am.
See, with my mom, she's still in denial. She's still in denial about it. My dad asked me how my boyfriend's doing. My dad's really chill about it, which I thought it would be reverse, but at the same time, it makes sense because my mom is extremely religious. Y la religión en Latinidad, especially being a queer Latino, it's ingrained into our culture, unfortunately, which makes for really beautiful aesthetics, but it's actually really terrible morally for us. And it's just it was hard because my mom will still be I know he's gonna marry a woman. I know God's gonna change him.
So have y'all ever had that initial talk? Because I know you said that you came out to other people outside of your circle, but was there ever a conversation with your actual family about it?
Yeah, I mean, I told my mom straight up a few years ago. She still won't talk about it.
So you just came out to your mom?
Yeah, a couple years ago.
Wow.
No.
It was more like a confirmation to her.
3 years ago. I'm a firm believer that I don't owe you to come out to you.
No, I agree.
I think as my parent, first of all, you brought me here. Like my friend Ryan says, you don't get to reject me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you brought me here. I was chilling up in heaven, minding my business, and you decided you wanted a baby, and without my consent, you brought me here.
And your daddy's ball sack.
You don't get to reject me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You also don't get to expect me to make it safe for you, for me to come out. Like, you as a parent owe me safety. You owe me the space to come out. Me coming out to you or telling you about my partner or telling you about who I love, how I love, what I do, that's an honor that I'm willing to give you when you give me the space. I don't owe that to you. And so I never had that conversation with my mom because sometimes she would ask me if I was dating anyone, and I would always tell her, I wouldn't tell you even if I was. I was like, me and my mom have a very direct, and it's kind of a cold relationship, I'm gonna be honest. Me and my parents don't really communicate very much, except me and my dad do because I've healed a lot.
Right.
Because I went to trauma therapy, which everyone should go to. But yeah, my mom was deaf. My mom and me don't talk a lot. But I mean,
would you blame it on your gayness?
She doesn't hate me. It's just, huh?
Is it ultimately boiled down to you being gay?
It's a lot of stuff, honestly. We can talk about that on another episode. But
Okay.
But yeah, no, we never had that talk. She's a Pentecostal, and I think I've told you that.
Yes.
Their buttholes are so tight that they can put anything in them. You know what I mean? It's like that's how strict they are on their rules. And so so that's mainly the reason why she's in denial, is because she's just so like, it's like a cult, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I feel that she's brainwashed.
But yeah, religion is really toxic. So
yeah,
spirituality is easy, religion's hard.
Did you date a lot when you were coming out? Like when you were
growing
in your
up? Yeah, bitch.
like, yeah.
Did you not?
I did.
I did it a lot. I've always loved the idea of, like, I'm a Libra. So I love like falling in love and going on dates and doing other shit. I have gotten lost to it though, and I had to like stop dating for like 2 years to really find myself, because I was like, no, I'm just serial dating at this point. But I've gone through phases where I have to stop for a while. Did you? What was your first date like? Do you remember it or no? I guess like,
no, I don't. That's hard. That's hard to think back.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, I did date a lot. I remember like it. I remember I used to take dating like really serious back then.
Yeah.
And then until I got my heart broken, and then I went through my first hoe phase.
I had to get my heart broken a few times before I was like, okay, I'm just gonna have sex.
Do you remember your first hoe phase though? I remember mine because it was right after I got my heart broken.
No, I don't.
Yeah, I remember mine. So you were just a hoe.
I was kind of paranoid because I didn't want STDs. I remember being really paranoid.
Now she doesn't care.
Now it's like, I left the door open. Just walk in.
I'm dead.
But yeah, no, actually, when I first came out, one of the things that I would struggle a lot with was a lot of the people that I was friends with the exception of a couple, were very judgmental about sex. And like it was, I had to deal with some slut shaming. And I mean, we still have to deal with it sometimes because, we have, not all of us in the community are necessarily
open-minded,
sex positive. But yeah, I had to deal with it a lot. Did you
feel slut shamed?
Did you ever get slut shamed or like shamed for being sexual?
Honestly, I was the opposite. So like,
that's crazy.
So when I
did you have friends?
I would slut shame.
You did, right? You had like friends from here. Were they cool with? Were they like judgmental about it?
Yeah. I even remember like, Grindr being very like taboo. Everybody was hiding it. Like it wasn't a thing that people should have, and like people didn't have their profiles up. It wasn't the same, or maybe I don't know if it was just a young thing, but like now that we're older, we hang out with older people. It might be different, or that's why we think it's different. But yeah, no, I got slut shamed quite a few times. But see, I would also slut shame people.
And see, me too.
Yeah.
But see, that's actually a point that I wanted to bring up about like when we deal with that, especially you deal with that a lot in Texas still. You still deal with people who people have like an idea of what sexuality and sex is like supposed to look like, and what like is proper sexuality and what is not.
Right.
And like all of those conservative mindsets, they all come from, okay, so like think of Dallas. This is what I always say. Dallas is the biggest, is one of the big cities in Texas, right?
Right.
So all the people who come here from small towns, they're coming from small towns because they want community. They want to be able to be themselves, get away, whatever. They want to be able to like be amongst tons of people like them, right? So Dallas is one of the closest big cities, depending on where you are in Texas. And so a lot of these people come and they propagate a lot of the same mentality and judgment and shame and all the stuff, all the behaviors that they're taught coming from small conservative towns. They propagate it in their own community, even though our community is supposed to be progressive and it's supposed to be about like breaking the rules, right? Because just being born queer in a small town that is like full of like people who are Christian or who are like, you know, homophobic, that already breaks rules. That's already, just existing already breaks rules. But a lot of times we come, and because we're hurting and because of all the things that we learned, we kind of regurgitate that onto people in our own community. And when people come to Dallas from these small towns, they're just doing the things that they learned, right?
Right.
Or like the things that I learned from my mom, from other friends, you know, from religion. It's sad.
There's so many different other things, though. See, I don't know. I can't say I fully agree. I agree to a certain extent because I do think that's very real. But I also think gay people are just very nasty to each other. And that's right. Like, I think it's like part of the culture. I think gay people can be very vicious.
Right. But that's because we are... And this is something my boyfriend said one time, like, we walk around hurting. We walk around hurting a lot. And that comes from the fact that we don't get a lot of things in parents got, or that, you know, heteronormative people get. Heterosexual people get. And so, you know, it's hard for us, but bitch, think about being trans, non-binary, you know, intersex, like all of these people who are like, if it was hard for us, if we have
just
to
imagine how hard it is for other
hard
people.
It is for them. Yeah. And how was your first time?
The first time having sex, I really enjoyed it. Like, it was very like, you know, so I guess sex was just being thrown in our face. It's like porn, gay porn, right?
Yeah.
So, and it still is. But, you know, I have an appreciation towards the guy that like I first had sex with, because he was like, don't fuck me like that. Like, don't just pound me, like make love to me. And it was like really sweet, actually. So it was nice. My first time was nice. Now I'm just like, sex is not the same.
Okay. Well, I thought you were going to have something funny that I could make fun of you with, but I guess I'm the only one that had. I hate my first time. I'm like, oh my God, what was I thinking? I had sex with this guy who from high school, the first guy that ever gave me attention that I liked. He wasn't that attractive. And he had like, there was like a skull candle, like a black skull candle that he lit, because he thought that would be romantic, but I was really scared. I felt like I was being offered to Satan.
Not him about to kill you.
I was like, okay, I guess we'll do this. And then he got me high, which I wasn't, like, I had never smoked weed. I think I had never smoked weed, or I had once or twice, but like, and I just remember it not being memorable and it hurting and him not, like, because I was bottoming and I was like, I liked it, but then I was like, looking back, I'm like, damn, I'm really thankful that my sexual debut was that bad, because it's like, no way that I can't. It's like,
it can only get better.
It can only get better.
Yeah.
But yeah, how do you feel now that you're like?
I love being gay.
Yeah.
I'm very comfortable being gay.
So it's been like a whole, what are some things that have changed for you?
I think my confidence, like I don't hide my gayness.
Yeah.
Anywhere. It doesn't matter about the environment. Like I don't suppress it, especially like to make people comfortable. And even for my family, like I remember, some of my friends are more flamboyant. I have a big mixture of different types of friends, right? But like some of them are very loud, very gay, And I remember, my mom was had some ladies over, like Mexican ladies, Mexican household. So she had her friends over, and I was expecting some friends. And I was like, hey, like I'm gonna open the side door when I was younger. And they actually had a huge turnaround. My family like feels totally different about me being gay now.
That's
too. They're
awesome.
super comfortable. But I remember her telling me like, hey, why doesn't your friends just come in through the front door instead of the side door? And I'm like, oh well, I don't want all your friends to see my friends. And she's like, I don't care.
Yeah. Aww.
So yeah, no, it was really nice. So I just really enjoy it. I sit in my gayness pretty confidently.
Awesome. Yeah, me too. To a degree, I internalized a lot of the religious shame and guilt that my mom created for us. Mostly my mom, my dad too, because my dad was very machista. He wasn't as religious, but he was very machista. So there are moments where I feel self-conscious still.
Okay.
And I'm working to unlearn that. But that's how trauma, like my therapist and me are working on all my trauma. But yeah, but I will say that I am more brave. I am happy. I'm happy to be gay. You know what I mean? I don't mind. I've never been scared to hold my boyfriend's hand or anything like that. It's more just like when I'm in an environment that feels unsafe, yeah. But I guess that's true for a lot of people. Another thing that I'm a lot more educated on our world, on the queer community. I know a lot more about the privilege that I hold, the way that other people are suffering, like how to but that's all stuff I've learned. I also
feel different
sexually I'm more free for sure. Because
I
used
too.
to be more conservative sexually. Now I've, you start getting into like little fetishes here and there. You start
circuit parties,
armpits. But yeah, so like, no, yeah, I think I've grown. I mean, I'm really happy. I think my younger self would be like really proud.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah, same. Like I think like the whole sex thing. Like I don't slut shame anybody at this point. Like, do you? You know what I mean? Go have fun.
Right.
Yeah. So
exactly. It's like if you're still slut shaming in 2023,
please stop. Let's just stop, because this is what I say. What I do openly, I guarantee y'all do behind closed doors.
Exactly. And don't yuck someone's yum.
Yeah.
Like what they like doesn't have to be your thing if they're not hurting anybody.
Don't mad because they get it.
Mind your business.
Yeah.
Mind your business. Some of us are trying to get a nut, okay?
Multiple.
Some of us are trying to get a nut or 2 or 10 at the bathhouse. Quit judging people. If I get 10 nuts in one sitting, what's the difference between that and you getting 10 loads in 5 weeks? Like, it's the same thing.
Or 1 load and 1 STD.
I'm just more efficient about it.
Yeah, you get with one person. That person has been with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
like
10.
whatever.
It's the same. Yeah. So like it's like get over it.
That concludes our first episode.
Yeah.
Thank you for showing up and listening.
Thank you for tuning in.
If you stayed in the whole time, congratulations. I don't think I would have been able to. Just kidding.
Listening to us.
But
about
one of the most important things about
this episode
is, the conversations we had about coming out and how making the world safer for us as queer people, because when we fight for our rights, we create in a more equal world. We create a world that is safer for all of us to come out. There's a lot of people who don't come out who end up getting married because that's how scared they are to a woman, because that's how scared they are of not being true to themselves. And that fear wouldn't be there and no one would have to be lied to. I mean, not that it's right to lie, but
And we're all young, and we all experience, there's always young people coming out, experiencing different things in life,
I mean,
different families, cultures.
Yeah. Our world would not be... a more equal world is a safer world, and a safer world is a world where we can all come out and be ourselves without lying, without hurting.
So these two organizations, guys, they actually provide resources for things like this, which I encourage everybody to, look into.
They basically, they do. They provide, they fight for our rights.
Yes.
And so the one that I wanted to shout out was Lambda Legal Defense and Education Fund. It's known as Lambda Legal. They focus on LGBT communities as well as people living with HIV and AIDS. They do this with impact litigation, societal education, and they do public policy work. They're a great organization. You can donate as much as you want to them, even if it's just $10 or something.
And I have the Human Rights Campaign. They essentially strive to end discrimination for all LGBTQ people. They envision a world where lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender, and queer people, plus community members who use different language to describe identity, are ensured equality and embraced as full members of society at home, at work, and in every community.
Wow. You really are a spokesperson.
Am I?
They should hire you. No, yeah. So, hit them up on their websites. There's tons of resources out there for us, and there's a lot of people doing the work so we can, live in a safer world for everyone.
Got it. And thank you once again for tuning in on our first episode.
Yeah, we hope you enjoyed it. We'll be touching a billion other subjects in the future.
Yeah.
So
thanks, guys.
Yeah. Oh, give us a shout out on Instagram. You can follow us at the Papiverse on our socials. And I'm at Hera del Sur. Javier is...
What the fuck, Javi? WTF, abbreviated.
Yeah. And we'll see you again soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, guys. How do you feel about it?
That was so nice.
It was a really good episode.